Time to fill her up. Nothing but the super clean, premium good stuff from my girl. Nothing but the good stuff. Welcome to Six's Overdrive, everybody. We're going to be reviewing the Hero 4 session today, and I'm going to say that this review, we want to tag it after the $200 price drop, because that's a very, very important thing. Now you can buy this camera for $279. When it was first released, it was the same price as the Hero GoPro Silver Edition. Alright, the Silver Edition has quite a bit more features and is a little bit more powerful. Not to say that the Session didn't stand on its own, because it has a few of its own little secrets, like not needing a case to take it into the water, having the speakers work in the water instead of having a back door that drowned out all the sound. And now that it's $279, it can be aimed squarely at the people who really want a piece of action with this camera. Side by side, you're going to see a little bit difference of quality between the silver and this Session. Of course, the black is in a league of its own, but it's $300 more than this camera. It's twice the price and then a bit. Alright? Here in Canada, anyway. So, I picked this up after looking at the pictures online, and I'm going to do the same. I want this review to be the most realistic review that you have seen. We're going to put it in a bunch of situations that, that it was designed for. Let's show you the footage right now. Skateboarding flip-flops is not a good idea. Okay, we're gonna go right underwater and see how long it takes for these mics to react again. One thousand. So as you can see, without doing a side-by-side comparison, this is a fine camera. I think it's even better quality than the Cena Prism I'm using on the side of my helmet. And that camera to me is one of the best cameras. Again, it doesn't have 4K and it's missing a few features, but it really does not take away anything from what you're trying to purvey. And I think we get caught up a lot in the latest technology and what this camera offers and blah 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 blah. But the most important part of doing vlogging or filmmaking or anything is the story. Is the quality that you're putting forth going to detract from the story? And as you can clearly see with this, it's not. For an action camera, it's top of the line. There's no difference that you're going to notice if you watch one film with a Hero 4 Black Edition and then watched one with this. Anything that you can do on those cameras looks pretty much the same unless you put the two slides side by side. So we all know that smaller means higher price, less features. You know, but with that small of a size, there's a lot of advantages to this little camera. You can place this thing anywhere. Like, it's a perfect cube, and it's all soft rubber all the way around. You can place this thing anywhere. It's inconspicuous. It's all blacked out. It just hides in a corner. So handy when you're doing something in crowded places. Nobody even knows it's there. It's super simple. One button for on and off, and another one to cycle through the menus. It's the simplest camera I've ever used. And for those of you that do motorcycles, side cameras, front mounts, whatever, there's no drag on this thing. It is the smallest camera ever. I have a Cena Prism, which before for me was the drag champion. I put it on the side of my helmet, you never even barely felt it. This thing is even better. How simple is this little thing? Let me show you quickly how simple it is. All you have to do is press that little button right there. Bam. We're now recording. It's just that simple. Now, to turn it off,
That's how quick it works, guys. It takes about 3 to 4 seconds to turn on. Then if you want to do time-lapse photography, all you have to do is hold it down until it turns on. It is now taking time-lapse photography. I could set this thing anywhere and it automatically does the time-lapse for you. Turn it off again, it'll beep a few times, it's over. Okay, and then the other part of the camera here is this little port right here. See that little button there? We can pull that open by just sliding your finger here. It'll pop open. It's sealed, it's watertight. You'll see that seal right there. Then we have our memory card in here, and we also have a USB port in here. No battery to remove. You get about 2 hours of battery life. While it's running, of course, it shuts off every time. So it will last a full day just because it's always shutting itself down. Okay, let's show you what came in the box now. All right, let me just set this camera up a little bit here for you. So this is essentially what's in the box. First of all, you've got your Hero session. The handiest little thing, that's almost an accessory by itself, the way you can just set it anywhere and it automatically orientates to what you're doing. These little cases are beautiful. These little clips are nice. They've got a nice little detente system to stop it from falling off. And these are easier to press than I've noticed in the other ones. This was a nice touch. I really like that. All right. They finally have a bearing head on one of their attachments. And this is just a standard attachment. You've got your little pegs there. And then to put this in and out of the housing, this is all you have to do. This is so much easier than the other GoPro housings. Bang, it's done. You need to turn it around. Bang, it's done. And the fact that most of the time, all you need to do is carry this around itself. I bought a floaty for mine so that I can use it in the water. You'll see that in some of the water shots. Not too much in there. Noticeably absent is no tripod mount. Everybody wants a tripod mount, no matter who I talk to, what review you see, they all wish they had a tripod mount. And I understand it's an action camera and they don't want it on a tripod being still all the time. That's for different types of camera. But sometimes you just want to bring one camera, or you're doing time lapse. It's part of the package now. So they should have a tripod mount. That's something GoPro's got to figure out. So to access many of the features on this camera, you've only got a few features out of the box. Okay, that's turning the phone on, and that'll get you into picture mode. Again, now I'm recording. Or you can also hit this button here on the back. You see that one right there? And that'll get you into your modes. So we can enter the photo mode. Let me do this backwards here. We'll enter the photo mode, camera settings, select control app. So if we select that control app, go to our phone and turn on the GoPro app, you'll notice the blue lights flashing. So we say connect our camera. All right, so let's control it. Bluetooth light just came on, or the Wi-Fi. We're in video mode, and now we actually have a preview. Pretty handy. Now if we go into the settings, we can do a whole bunch of different little things in here, right from the resolution, the frames per second, field of view, low light. There's a ton of stuff in here. You see I've got the Pro Tune turned on. I'll get into that a little bit later. ISO is set to 1600. You can do a whole bunch of different options in here. And this, the only thing I don't like is that I have to delete my files in here. That's not the most ideal thing in the world. I would rather have that on the camera, so I'm not going back and forth to my phone when I need to delete files, but usually I'm doing that after editing anyway. But that's how you set up your phone and your camera. You'll have to download the app. We can go turn camera off. What we want to do is go to turn Wi-Fi off, hit the button, the Wi-Fi comes off. I'm going to give you guys 5 quick tips on how to use this thing to the best advantage and get the best picture out of it. Number 1 would be spot metering. Okay, spot metering on this little cam works a little bit different. It wants you to keep your subjects in the middle, and it'll focus and do all your light reading off of, if you change this to spot metering, it'll focus on what you're trying to. So if you're holding it up like this, looking at it, and doing that as a vlog, you want spot metering. So turn that on in the camera settings. Number 2, what you want to do in this, if you're going to be in low light shooting, decrease your frames per second down to 30 frames per second from 60 frames per second. That'll allow more light into the camera, because then the camera can work on a slower shutter speed. I set my ISO on low light for only up to 1600. After that it gets so grainy, and that's the default mode in the camera. You shouldn't have to do anything for that, but that's a little bit of an advanced tip. Okay, ProTune. Everybody's heard about ProTune. What ProTune is for people like myself who go back into their videos when they're done, and then they add the richness and saturation and different color definitions. It gives you a very flat preview. Kind of think of it like shooting in RAW. It just gives you a nice washed out balance that you can apply filters to later. So if you're not going to do that, if you're just using this camera to get on something, take some action footage and go, then put it in its standard mode. Don't do ProTune. This sucker's got some wicked fisheye. Because of the wide angle and they want it to work for everybody, and there's no preview on it, because of its small size, there's no preview on this. So you either have to use your cell phone or just guess. Otherwise, they give you this big wide fisheye and the edges all become distorted. All right? Now that's not ideal. Now you can fix that in post-editing. All right? So if you do go into the editing software, even the stuff that's supplied from GoPro, you can get rid of that. It is going to crop your image to get rid of some of those outside corners, but it's very much something, again, for people who are doing the first person shooting. You might want to edit your video after and get rid of that fisheye effect. Now here's a little bit of a different one. Don't always think of thirds when you're using these action cameras, and this goes for all action cameras. You want to think center positioning on this, putting yourself in the third frame. All right, you see I've got 1/3 here, the center, and then I'm off to this side. It doesn't work with these because of the fisheye effect. Try to center your subjects whenever possible. Otherwise you'll have distortion up the side. So there's 5 quick tips for you guys. I hope those are going to make you a better photographer or a videographer. Since they dropped the price on this little unit here, I can't think of a better action cam than you could possibly have. This thing here is so handy. It's so tiny. It is so nice. It's so functional. The fact that it's waterproof, the fact that the speakers work so well in the water. You pop out of the water and instantly you got sound again. It actually does a not bad job of canceling out wind noise either with its 2 mic system. The microphones actually will get the best reading from either microphone. So you can just carry it around like that. That's a lot better than this, right? Tell me I'm not right. Alright guys, that's my review of the GoPro Hero 4 session. I hope you like it, and I hope you run out and buy one now that it's $200 less than the silver. Okay guys, this is Six's Overdrive. Remember to share, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Alright guys, you didn't think I was going to paint a totally rosy picture about this camera, right? I'm going to tell you the disadvantages. Because of its size, this camera here doesn't have a lot of functionality on the camera. You have to use a camera app to get at some of the functions. However, it will run what you need it to run in most situations right out of the box. Once you set it up once, you can use it all day and only use the 2 buttons on it. You need a cell phone to frame your pictures because there's no LED display. There's simply no room for it. Because of a smaller sensor, because it's all cramped in here, remember, smaller size equals higher cost and less features, you're going to get slightly less quality than you will out of the silver and the black editions of the Hero 4s. I don't think you're going to notice it unless, like I said before, you put up a side-by-side of it, but there is less quality, and you will notice it in low light, especially if you don't take my tip and reduce it down to 30 frames per second. And then lastly, this is a disadvantage with all of these GoPro cameras, is that you need accessories after. And that's where they make their money. So GoPro's got a good thing going, but it's a bit of a disadvantage on this camera to only have a few accessories and then you have to go out and buy the rest. One of the first things I ran out and bought, just a tip for you guys, is I bought a floaty so I could take it in the water and have it not go. It does not float. And I also bought the headband so I can clip it to my hat and clip it to my head.